All right, today we are going to review in Algebra 1, Section 2.8, solving word problems. There is a step-by-step guide in order to be able to solve word problems if you're struggling with it. The first step is to identify the unknown. Also identify any knowns that's given to you. Step 2 is to represent one of the unknowns with a variable. Step 3 is to express the other unknowns in terms of the variable. So essentially, we're trying to find one variable at a time. Write an equation. Step 5 is solve the equation. But you're not done, because when you solve that first equation, you've only solved for the one unknown. Many times in word problems, there are more than one unknown, so you need to go back and answer the original problem. If you are struggling with word problems, memorize these instructions. If you have the book, the detailed instructions are on page 77. I drew a line because a lot of people find it beneficial to memorize acronyms in order to remember things. So you see this one, and they're not always real words, but if you sound this out, it would be IRUSA. So you could go through each letter to help you to remember that initial word and then to remember the whole instruction. So let's go ahead and try one of the problems. If you have the book on page 81, we'll go through number 14 together. Okay, so it says, one number is 25% more than another number. The sum of the numbers is 135. What are the two numbers? So usually I like to read it through once just to kind of get a general idea of what's being asked and what's being given. Then I'll go back through and start writing all of the information that I've been given. So one number, I'm going to represent that by y. Is, so that is means equals in word problems, 25% more than another number. When you have a percentage and it says more than, you're actually going to add that percentage given to 100%. Plus 25%. Okay, so 25% more than another number. So we are going to multiply. I'll make this variable x. So y is 25% more than x. The sum of the numbers, okay, so now the sum of our numbers, so x plus y is 135. What are the two numbers? So what we can do, I have y already solved for here. So I'm going to plug this in for y. So x plus, and actually we can simplify this down more. What it would become is, I'm going to change this percentage into a decimal. So it's going to be 1 plus 0.25, because remember, we move the decimal place over 2 times to the left when we go from a percentage to a decimal. X, which equals 1.25x. So I can just put right here 1.25x, because we're substituting the y for what it equals 135. Now let's simplify. We've got two like terms here. So remember, there's an understood coefficient of 1 here. So we've got 1 plus 1.25 is 2.25x equals 135. Now, I know a lot of you struggle in this part. How do I get x by itself? Think of it like this. Remember, addition and subtraction are opposites of each other. Multiplication and division are opposites of each other. Whatever is attached to x, what mathematical, not property, but what is going on here? Is it being added, subtracted, divided, multiplied? And then we're always going to do the opposite of that in order to cancel it out. So we can see 2.25 is being multiplied to x. So I'm going to divide by 2.25 so that that 2.25 will cancel out. But whatever is done to one side of an equation, and hopefully it's going through your mind the rest of that sentence, must be done to the other. So we also have to divide this side by 2.25. These cancel out, which leaves us with x. And if you plug this into your calculator, you will get 60. But remember, you're not done. If you go back to the instructions, it says, what are the two numbers? I also need to solve for y. So let's go back, and we can do either one of these. We can plug x in this equation, so it would be 60 times 1.25, or you can even plug it in here. You could do 60 plus y equals 135. I'll do it both ways. So let me bring this down. Y equals 1.25 times 60. Plug that in and you would get 75, or you can write it out on paper if you don't have a calculator with you. And the other way would be 60 plus y equals 135. So you see what's happening. 60 is being added to y. So our opposite is going to be subtract. And whatever is done to one side must be done to the other. So those cancel out. We're left with y equals 75. So that's your two answers. I'm just going to bring it down here. X equals 60, y equals 75. There you go. If you're struggling with word problems, remember to memorize the steps and keep practicing.